Hello and welcome back to Off the Beaten Pot. Today we are doing a little review of the Nomads Kitchens spice rack. So the Nomads Kitchens reached out to me quite a while ago, it's probably over a year ago now, and they asked me if I'd be interested in doing something. And so they said, what do you want? Do you want our kitchen or do you want our spice rack? So they've got a few different things on their site, and I asked if they'd send me their spice rack. It's the thing I guess that intrigued me the most, and it's a 13 by 13 centimetre cube of spices. So my initial thoughts are, you know, it's definitely robust. I did a drop test from my upstairs window and hit the floor pretty hard, and the contents stayed pretty well inside. The reason they stayed well inside is they've got this elastic. What you might find is that these can be fiddly to get in and out. I'm sure that elastic will stretch over time. Certainly getting them back in takes a bit of not effort, just takes a bit. I would rather they stay put and be a little bit fiddly maybe to get back in, and it does get easier the more practice you get. So it comes with pepper, salt, oil, cumin, chili flakes, curry powder, garlic, paprika and mixed herbs. So it's got quite a comprehensive starting setup, and what's good is the more you use it, the nicer the smell becomes every time you open it. So the case itself is this sort of plasticky foam thing you might expect to see with a camera accessory. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe about it. It's got a zip and a carabiner. What I will say, the carabiner is, I've given this very light use over a week or so, and the carabiner, well, mine broke, so it's not the most robust carabiner, but that's an easy fix. This actual bit here with the D-ring on it is substantial enough that replacing the carabiner is fine. That's what I've done. Actually, I probably wouldn't use the carabiner and have that dangling. It might be useful to click onto, maybe if you're doing a barbecue, have it nearby, but then I guess the whole point is you want it sort of open and ready to go. So what problem does the Nomads Kitchen solve? I would say for the kind of hiking I do, the through hikes, the multi-day hiking, the lightweight backpacking, I wouldn't necessarily take this with me. It would take up quite a big space in the pack. And as you know, by looking through my channel, the kind of cooking I do is I've taken everything with me and pre-portioned what I need, and I know what I'm going to go for. This is great. I would say I'd take this camping with me, take it in a camper van, or if I was going to stay in hostels, although, you know, lots of stuff gets left behind in hostels. If you're just buying ingredients from a local shop or market and you don't want to buy massive quantities of spices that you know you're going to maybe use for a few nights and then leave in a hostel as you move on, because you don't want to pack all of those things with you, this is great. So I'd probably take this hosteling with me or throw it in the car when I'm going car camping, and I've always got this base level of flavors. I really like the oil pot. It's squidgy enough, it's robust enough, easy to refill, which is important, and feels pretty watertight or oil tight. And it's just a nice little nozzle. Not branded, but there you go. I like how they've got more salt and pepper, because that's the, you know, certainly for the British palate is what we're going to go for often. So you've got more of these as well. The pepper, I've tried them all individually, and I don't know where they source their ingredients from. If I've asked them and they've responded to me, I'll leave that information either flashing up on the video or a bit more information in the comments, in the video info below. but the quality of the ingredients seems to be pretty high, especially this pepper is lovely, coarse, peppery pepper, if that makes sense. The cumin is very cuminy. That might sound weird, but really nice edge to it. It doesn't feel like flat or cheap. Chili flakes, they're not too ballsy, but they're just nice. The curry is very nice, rounded curry flavour. The garlic, now I really like the garlic. It's not garlic powder, they're garlic granules. And that's a big win for me. Paprika, very nice. I switched mine out because I've got some lovely smoked paprika, and the mixed herbs taste like a very standard mixed herb. It's pretty lightweight overall. I guess the main thing about it is the bulk. It is bulky. Like I wouldn't put this into a backpack for a multi-day hike or for through hiking or anything like that. I would be more inclined to, like I say, take this out car camping or hosteling, where I've probably got a bigger pack, because cooking for me when I'm sort of traveling, seeing the world, not that I do that much of that anymore, but cooking for me is more, this is what this allows me to do, cooks in a way that I want to. So I've switched out my cumin, I switched out for nutmeg, and I used that nutmeg in my Rusty video. Just thought this was a good time to squeeze in here, because I forgot during the original filming, is that for certain membership levels on my Patreon site, you get a thank you and a shout out on my channel. So this one is for Liz Clipson. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon. It means the world to me, and because of it you get your free e-cookbook, of which we cooked the Rusty from as an example. The great news is I'm working on the second one, and I've had conversations with all of my patrons about what you'd like to see as a few extras, and one thing that's come from that is I will be releasing, I think, a fortnightly, possibly weekly, but at least a fortnightly recipe that everyone can try if they want to, including myself, but also it'd be nice to see your take on my suggestion, because I love learning from you and building this community even more. So Liz Clipson, thank you so much. Back to it. Although as you saw, I packed that nutmeg, salt and pepper into the ingredients and took it out that way. But if I was somewhere else and I wanted to make a Rusty, I just need to buy a potato, and I've already got the rest here. I've got the oil, I've got the salt, and I've got the pepper. I posted a preview video on it, so I'm sort of re-recording this little bit for a response. Someone said, oh, that's much nicer than my Tic Tac boxes, and that is a very easy comparison. The Tic Tac box, where I'd say it differs is they are slightly more robust than a Tic Tac pot. And I think a lot of this is about the case. The case, it's quite big, but I think that is for protection. Like I said, I dropped this out of a window, it bounced, it scuffed. I probably wouldn't do that. Actually, it didn't scuff too much, but I probably wouldn't, you're not going to be throwing this off of stuff, but you might be on top of a tour and it rolls backwards. So I think it was a fair test. The guys at Nomads Kitchens might disagree. Another test I did is, you saw in the intro, I poured water over it, and I poured quite a bit of water in one go, but I would say it was a fair test of a torrential downpour over a relatively long period of time. They don't advertise this as being waterproof, but it is worth noting it is not waterproof. So I think most of the water came in through the zip, but it also certainly came in through the back and top, and because of that, my curry powder sort of also got wet. The labels started coming off. But if it's really that raining, you're probably not going to be having this outside. But if you're backpacking, you think, oh, I've got a carabiner, I'll clip it onto the outside of my pack, and you've not got it rain covered. That's worth checking, and I think worth noting for this review. Yeah, it's not waterproof, but they don't advertise it as being waterproof. So it's not a negative, it's just something that I worked out with a watering can. Do I like it? That's the main question. Yes, yeah, I do like it. I'm not going to be putting this in my backpack. I'm not going to be grabbing this to throw into a 35-40 litre backpack to go to Dartmoor or Snowdonia for 3 or 4 days, because I'm going to have planned ahead, and I know what I want to cook, I know what ingredients I want. But if I was heading to unknown territory, and I wanted sort of a base kitchen setup, a spice rack, absolutely I'd take this, because you always know you're going to add flavour to whatever food you might find yourself being able to purchase wherever you end up in the world. So for car camping, hosteling, going out in your camper van, barbecuing, you know, it sounds silly, you might be barbecuing on a beach, then you've got this and you've got some flavour. Overall, it's pretty robust, and I've really tried, I've been pulling at it, pushing it, throwing it, dropping it, spraying it, generally having it on my bag when I've been walking and making it swing quite a lot, which is why the carabiner broke. So in terms of construction, my main downside to it would be that carabiner is not fit for the purpose. I could have got one bad one, but it's a selling point on the website, but I would just swap that out for one that's a little more robust. More importantly is that the D-ring and the webbing that it attaches to is solid, and that's the load bearing bit. That can be easily rectified. Yeah, definitely don't go climbing on it. Overall view of the company, I think, well, go on their website, judge for yourself, is that they are a bunch of really adventurous mates who want to see the world and want to share the love of cooking, and I am down with that. I'm down with all those things. I'm down with travel and cooking, and they are enabling that. So I think that this is a winning combo. I'd like to see, as they move forwards, maybe a bit of R&D and what else they can do with a bit of feedback. I think that they could collaborate with some really cool people and make even further exceptional products, and I think this is a great product. Really, if you want a spice rack, you've got a spice rack. One thing I might suggest to them is if they put the carabiner, if it's possible, at the top, because once you've opened this, the carabiner's there, sort of flapping at the wrong place. But if you can have a carabiner or just a loop, you can then hang that on the inside of your tent or on your table, anywhere. Now, do you need this in your life? It is well worth getting, and it's certainly, if nothing else, is a good starter spice set. And one thing that's pretty cool is they have given my viewers Off the Beaten Pot a discount, and that code is Off the Beaten Pot, and you just type that in at checkout. It is time sensitive. If you want to check out their website, it will flash up here, and there'll be a link below, of course. So go and check out what they do, read their story, see what other things they've got going on, and if it tickles your pickle, go and get yourself a 10% discount, courtesy of the guys at the Nomads Kitchens. I will be using this in the future. I'm going to be taking my Anave stove out to the beach, and I want to take some spices. I don't want to take my big old tubs of spices or bags of spices, so this is where that comes in handy as well. So I'm going to throw this in the bag for the stove or in the basket for the wood. I'm going to take those things to the beach, and I'm going to be cooking up something pretty epic. I've got to do a few more tests on it at home, but then when it's ready, it's going to be an absolute banger. So I'll let you know when that one's coming. Anyway, I've taken up far too much of your time. I'd like to thank you very much as ever for supporting this channel, and I will see you in another episode of Off the Beaten Pot. Cheers and gone.